So at the end of last week, Kerry posted a question in the 4321 community about planning, and more specifically about how to execute on a plan. And I absolutely love this question because I am really big on planning and trying to get 4321 members to plan. They are not as keen, and there's always a massive resistance to planning. So I think that a video about planning is very apt, and I'm quite looking forward to doing it. So let's first of all start with the purpose of planning. It's not to... I try to get people to plan not to cause them more stress or to burden them with something that's going to take more time. It's exactly the opposite. You know, people always say to me, Nadia, I don't have time to plan, I don't have time to plan. But if they plan, if they take just 10 minutes to plan, the week goes so much smoother. That's what, you know, if you just try it out, you will see that taking 10-15 minutes to sort out your week, schedule your workouts, what day, what time, have a look at your diary, plan what you're going to eat. It doesn't mean you have to food prep every meal on Sunday night for the week ahead. That's not what I mean. It means on, you know, what am I going to have for breakfast? What am I going to have for lunch? If you're eating out, how can you plan well for that? If you want to bring a packed lunch, then obviously you need to be organised. What are you going to order in your food shop so that you are going to be able to have healthy dinners? It's not about prepping it. It's just about planning ahead so that you have the right food in. You know when you're going to work out. It won't take an awful long time. It will take 10-15 minutes, but you will suddenly feel completely in control of your week, and the chances of your week going well are infinitely higher. If you don't plan your workouts and you don't plan what you're going to eat, it's going to be very, very difficult to fit those things into your week. The issue with making changes in health and fitness is that our week is full. Everybody's week is full. I've never met anyone who has tons of spare time in their week. So if you want to make changes and you have to try and fit in a workout and try to change your eating habits, there's no way you're going to be able to do that if you've not planned for it, because naturally everybody across the board, myself included, is going to go back to habits that they used to have prior to trying to make these changes. Now, you might only be a couple of weeks in to your health and fitness program, so therefore the other habits you've had have been there for such a long time. It's what we talked about in the last video, and when you're short of time, you're going to go back to those habits. It's going to be impossible not to, because you're not organised, you're running about, you're eating on the hop, you finish late for work, you don't have time now to train, and all these other various problems that come in. If you're planning ahead, you're getting organised, you're scheduling everything in, and you're in control, and it makes those changes slightly easier to make. It doesn't mean it's all going to go to plan, which we'll touch on in a minute, but it will make it easier to implement those changes. Now, let's talk about if you have done a plan and you find it difficult to execute on the plan. That's really normal. Just because you've planned doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to go swimmingly. And I think that's really important to acknowledge, that it won't all go perfectly. So that's the first thing to remember. If you reach the end of the week and 80% of your plan has gone well, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. That's a win. It's rarely, if ever, going to be 100%. If you're hitting 80%, you've had a great week. Congratulate yourself. Fabulous. Look forward to the next week. Plan in the same way. If it's gone horribly wrong, then you have to look at a few things. So the first thing is, did you plan unrealistically? So I've done this before, particularly less so with my workouts and things, but certainly with my work schedule, where I have 2 hours where I can do a certain amount of work, and I plan 6 hours of work, and I just list them all, and I think, right, I'll just do as much of that as I can, and it just doesn't really work. What I have to do, and what I do now, is if I have 2 hours of work, I plan what I can realistically do in 2 hours. Okay, sometimes maybe a little more, sometimes a little less, maybe 15-20 minutes out, but I don't I no longer try and schedule in 6 hours of work into 2 hours because I know it's not going to happen. But that was a mistake I was making for a long time, and I was continually getting overwhelmed, continually not hitting any of my targets for what I wanted to achieve at the end of a week. And I just took a step back and realised I had to look at what wasn't working. Why am I not, in my life, my kind of fitness and nutrition is really under control. For me, the things that are out of control are slightly different than everybody's got different things. For me, it's sometimes a work schedule, work-life balance, dealing with a family now, things like that. That's where my struggle is. And so I had to take a step back and say what's not working here. And what wasn't working was that I was scheduling too much. So not only was I getting overwhelmed by the workload, but I was also getting really disheartened because I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. So I had to really think about what I could change. So if your plan isn't working, think about what you can change in the plan for the next week. And that is something about planning that people don't always think about, is a plan should be fluid and should be adaptable. It's not set in stone. So for example, on a Sunday night, I plan for my week ahead. If that week's gone bad, I'll maybe change things for the next week, or I might even change things midweek. If my work schedule changes or things happen, then I adapt the plan slightly. That is absolutely fine. Don't feel so rigid to your plan. Move things around a little to suit you, but always try and stay in control and on top and looking ahead to what is happening that week. So it is always adaptable, and I think that's really important to remember as well. And I think the final thing with a plan, and certainly for me, it's in making lists. And I find if I've got a list for an evening and I've got 6 tasks to do, some of them will be longer tasks, some of them will be shorter tasks. I try and get the shorter tasks done straight away, quickly, so I can tick them off. So all of a sudden, I'm now from 6 tasks to 3 tasks, and I've only been working for 15 minutes. That's easy. Now and I feel suddenly it's a success, and I'm feeling good, and I'm ready to get rid of those other 3 tasks. So I think when you're planning to make sure that you are feeling good about the plan and not bad about the plan, is put some easy stuff in there. Put something in that you know you're going to be able to manage every week. And like even something simple like walking from the train station to your office, something like that, something really simple. But put that in as part of your fitness plan, or taking the stairs at work, something like that. Put that in and then tick it off, and that way you feel good about your plan. You feel like, oh, this is working, rather than always putting in huge tasks. And I think it is really important, because people often set the bar so high when they're making changes in any area of their life. And it's important that, yes, you will have to make some big changes, but try and make some small changes too, and tick them off really quickly, and then you'll start to feel in control and on top of things. So it is important to plan, and it is important to execute on the plan, obviously, but there are things you can do to make that easier on yourself and kind of trick your mindset into feeling more positive about it. Until then, you're in a place where everything is going well, and you can then just schedule the big tasks, and you don't have to schedule in these small tasks anymore. But I think at first, scheduling these small tasks and ticking them off straight away is a real key to executing on a plan. So I hope that helps a little. I know that planning is a tough thing for people to get on board with. Life is incredibly busy, and it does just feel like another thing to do to plan ahead. But I really promise you, that if you plan your week, it will make your week much, much easier and a lot less stressful. And particularly if you're looking for results with health and fitness, it makes those much, much more achievable. Because if you continue to eat on the hop or train randomly, if you suddenly have the free time, then you're never really going to get on top of the changes that you need to make. So you have to plan for them to ensure that those changes happen on a weekly basis. Okay, have a good week.